What's going on, guys? Steve here with the VBL Season 2, Week 2 Team Builder. We're playing Braff and the Libertyville Luxrays this week. We have only ever played once, and that was in the Monotype Tournament Finals, which I won 2-0. And I won last week 2-1. He also won last week 2-1. Cresselia pulling a lot of weight for me, and Turtonator pulling a lot of weight for him. Check. So, no trades or anything. His team, this is the wrong team. That is for my Week 5 matchup. His team is Glastrier, Blastoise, Gmax, Landorus, Hippowdon, Klefki, Musharna, Stoutland, Tangela, Fletchinder, Magneton, and Turtonator. And what I think is interesting looking at our match is that we're both incredibly slow. His fastest is Landorus, maxes out at 168. He does have the Tailwind option with Fletchinder, but he's got the Turtonator and Glastrier as two great sweepers for him, which are slower than all of my sweepers. So I think he's going for a Trick Room. I'm also very worried about Blastoise. I think he's going to bring Glastrier, Blastoise, Landorus, Hippowdon, and I wouldn't be surprised to see both Musharna and Fletchinder, so he can set Tailwind or Trick Room depending on what he wants in the game. He could also switch out Hippowdon for Klefki. I'm going to change that to a yellow, actually. The fact that he tried to trade Klefki makes me think he's not going to bring Klefki. And Stoutland, I feel like, is probably only coming if he does bring Hippowdon. But definitely these three. And I really think Hippowdon, and then I really think Musharna and Fletchinder. Not really worried about Tangela, and not worried about Magneton or Turtonator. I've got lots of good ground types. Yeah. So, what am I going to bring? Let's get into it. I'm starting off with my Cresselia, and this is not going to make much sense until we get into the other Pokemon. Max HP, the defensive investment here is to live 2 hits from a Max Glastrier, I believe. I don't remember exactly. The Choice Scarf with that amount of speed means I outspeed Max Speed Landorus. The moves Skill Swap, Icy Wind, Psychic, and Trick. If you're looking along the top, you can probably tell that Skill Swap is meant to be going into Rhyperior or Heatran. And then I needed 5 stats, so just a little bit into Special Attack and the rest into Special Defense for bulk on what I assume will be a Special Attacking Landorus. Icy Wind to slow things down, Psychic is just for stab, and Trick. If he leads something that I don't want him to lead, I can just Trick. For example, Tangela. Would be useless with a Choice Scarf, or if he sets up Trick Room, I can Trick a Choice Scarf onto something. Second up, we have Rhyperior with an Assault Vest, Solid Rock to take less from special or super effective moves with Counter, Rock Slide, Earthquake, and Ice Punch. I believe those 3 moves cover his entire team for super effective damage, not just neutral. Let me verify that. Not Blastoise. And not Musharna or Stoutland. Everything else. Anyway, this is a very complex EV spread. So, what this means, you know when you get hit, you have 16 possible damage values that you take. So what this means is that with Dynamax Glastrier, I never die to Max Hailstorm with Max Attack and a Life Orb. It also means that 13 out of 16 of those times, Counter is enough to one-hit KO the Glastrier if I'm at full health. It also means that I have enough health to live a Max Quake from a Max Special Attack, Life Orb, Sand Force Landorus. So I live his 2 main max threats. I'm obviously never going to live a G-Max candidate, so I'm not even going to try with that. But with this, I can at least get a counter off, kill Glastrier, and Ice Punch is going to do around 70% to a Max Landorus. And we get to Heatran, and this is where the Cresselia skill swap comes into play. So, he has 2 priority moves on his team, and that is important because Cresselia with Choice Scarf is faster than his entire team. So, the plan is Cresselia Heatran, skill swap onto Heatran. If he has the priority move, which is either Fake Out on Blastoise or Quick Attack or another flying move on Fletchinder, he basically has to use that onto the Heatran, or I dodge a ground move from Landorus because of the skill swap from Cresselia going on to Heatran. So he has to pop the air balloon, and I'm going to assume that he thinks, because Cresselia is somewhat slow, he's going to be able to pop the air balloon with a priority attack and use a ground move onto the Heatran. And yeah, Bob's his uncle. However, the plan is skill swap onto Heatran and substitute, so I dodge the ground move from the Landorus. This is also assuming he leads Landorus plus anything. If it's not a Fletchinder or a Blastoise, I just get the substitute off for free, I'm pretty sure. Blastoise is the only one that really scares me. And nothing else, like, what's his next fastest Pokemon after Landorus? It's just Fletchinder, Stoutland, and Heatran. I EV'd 113. You don't put any speed in Klefki or Magneton. And I don't care about Tangela. That would be funny if he's max speed Tangela. But I am faster than a Powdon, guaranteed. The 113 means that I outspeed Landorus if he's at -1. So if he leads something where I don't even need to skill swap right away, i.e. not Blastoise or Fletchinder, that means that I can Icy Wind with Cresselia, which means Heatran is going before the Landorus, which means I can get off a max ground on something, or a max steel on something, maybe a max flare to set the sun. We'll see. I think I'm basically guaranteed to get Levitate onto Heatran with this, though, because he either has to Fake Out or Gale Wings attack into Heatran to pop the air balloon. So unless he's running like Focus Blast or something on the Landorus, I'm pretty comfortable with this. And then in the back, with the Sunset from my Max Heatran, after I get Skill Swap onto him, I have my Focus Sash Tangrowth with Leaf Guard, which means that I can't be statused. So if he does have Yawn, which he can have with the Blastoise or the Stoutland, nothing's going to sleep as long as Tangrowth is alive. And with Rage Powder, Protect, and Focus Sash, he should be so for quite a while. Sleep Powder will allow me to put stuff to sleep, obviously, and Leaf Storm to deal damage to primarily the Blastoise, who I have a hard time with, obviously. It's just max HP, max special defense, keep me on the field as long as possible. Then we get Gastrodon, who is also here for the Blastoise. Lumberry, again for any Yawn or Sleep Powder, Tangela stuff. Storm Drain. If I find out he is Choice Scarf Blastoise, that's another thing I'm worried about. Game 1, if he just pulls out Choice Scarf Blastoise, I'm just straight up going to lose. And I'll probably have to counter it into the Game 2 by just switching in Gastrodon first turn and soaking up a water move. But that's not something I can act like. I'm not going to play towards the fact that he has a Choice Scarf, because that's just not worthwhile to do. I'll just react if he does have that. So Protect, Scald, Earth Power, and Recover. I did have Ice Beam here for a bit, but Landorus is weak to water anyway, so if I get a +1 special attack boost, this could be a max threat with the Max Geyser and Max Quake. Very good against most of his Pokemon, just not Glastrier. I would rather just have a Scald for Glastrier. But these two deal with Glastrier very well, so I don't need everything to do it. And last but not least, we have Munchlax, my mini G-Max Snorlax, Gluttony Custap Berry. I'm sure people saw in the Discord he was posting some stats about He's posting some stats about Eviolite Thick Fat Munchlax being able to take 2+2 max hailstorms from Glastrier, which is wild, yes. However, Blastoise has Haze. And because I went Weakness Policy Cresselia in the first week, I don't think he's going to bring, or I think he's going to bring Haze Blastoise. So any amount of boosting that I want to do is just going to be a waste of time. Unless I have a Custap Berry. So, this would be a game 1, game 2. If game 1 goes very well for me, then I lead Tangrowth Munchlax. Right, so game 1, Cresselia Heatran, skill swap onto Heatran, substitute, take an attack, maybe he misses, maybe he doesn't. Next turn, Burning Jealousy or whatever, I don't know. We'll go from there. I got a Levitating Heatran. I'm in a good spot. And then probably Tangrowth Gastrodon in the back, maybe Rhyperior if he doesn't have Blastoise in place of Gastrodon. We'll see. Excuse me. Game 2, he's going to want to counter. Game 2, assuming I win, he's going to want to counter Cresselia Heatran, which means I'm probably safe to go Tangrowth Munchlax, Rage Powder, Belly Drum, Protect, Self-Destruct. A +6 Self-Destruct from Munchlax at max attack KOs max HP 4 defense Glastrier 100% of the time, with damage to spare. So I'm thinking he expects me to be Eviolite, and maybe after seeing the Belly Drum he's just going to double protect, but that's a risk you got to take, because if not, if I max strike something, Munchlax is suddenly going faster than Glastrier the next turn because I'm not running min speed. I suspect he will be, but I will not be. And I'm dropping frames again, aren't I? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Computer froze. This is the second time I'm doing this video, by the way. The first time it failed. Hopefully this one doesn't. Ice Punch and Earthquake are just there for coverage, and I believe I hit most of his team for super effective damage with those 3 moves. As we already talked about with Rhyperior, it's basically the same moveset, but with Self-Destruct instead of Rock Slide. So, game 2, if I win game 1, this is just blowing up Munchlax and then bringing in either Rhyperior or Heatran in the back for cleanup. Basically how my Players' Cup team worked. I think this Heatran Cresselia stuff is the coolest thing I've ever prepped. Hopefully it works. Could not. I mean, I could just end up looking like an idiot, and he has like Scarf Blastoise, and I just die in 1 turn, which is entirely possible. Scarf Blastoise is not ridiculous, but I'm willing to lose game 1 like that. So, good luck to Braf. I'm looking forward to it. Hope you guys are as well, and thanks for watching. Peace.